Now, will I be able to share my screen with everybody?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Okay, and it's recording.
Yeah.
Hey everyone.
What's up?
Hi.
What time is it where you're at?
11 p.m.
Oh my gosh, that's
Oh,
crazy.
man.
That's crazy.
Where are you at? Must be somewhere like Europe or something.
Yeah, where are you at again? Where are you in?
Germany,
you-
right?
Germany, right?
Germany, yeah.
So are you guys actually locked down?
Basically, it starts on Monday, but restaurants, gyms, etc. are closed. Only schools are open, and they're not forcing us, but they recommend to do home office.
Gotcha.
But it's not like in March, so that everything's closed. Shops are open, but it's like there are really strict rules now. You can't just like they don't want you to travel inside Germany or in Europe. They want you to stay at home or like and only 2 or 3 people can meet on the street from
Really?
different households. Yeah, it's
What the heck?
for a month now, yeah.
2 or 3. Wow.
John, did they cancel trick or treating where you are?
I don't know. I'm meeting my ex-wife to go trick or treating. So.
Are you?
I don't.
Yeah,
I
they
don't,
they canceled it here. Yeah,
Did they? Huh.
yeah. And my kids blame me. They don't get it.
Didn't change it.
You didn't change it?
Everything stayed the same.
Then we got a couple other. Oh, there's a bunch of people jumping. Yeah. What's up?
Victor.
This is cool, man.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
We got some people are texting me for the link too. Somebody else just joined. Oh, saw somebody. Victor, how you doing?
Hey, not too bad. Yourself?
Very good.
Quick question for everybody. Is this being recorded by chance? Because I am at work, so I may have to bail. Hopefully I don't have to.
It is, yeah.
Awesome.
We got a couple more people jumping on. Send this in the group real quick.
I'll post it again in the group. See
Okay.
if anyone else joins in.
Awesome.
You did? No.
I know Betsy. Is Betsy jumping in?
She said she's picking up her son and she's going to sign in as soon as she can.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So I basically took all the questions, I put them on so the format, what I'll do is I'm going to go over the PowerPoint again I created in the Academy, and I'm just going to break that down. And then what I'll do is I'll first talk about like how I got to where I'm at, my brain, and then basically what's going on in my perspective in the economic world. And then we'll dive into all the questions.
Hello?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Coach. Sorry, I have you in the car. I just went to pick up the little ones from daycare.
So there's
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, guys, so you want to say hi to Coach? Hi.
Hi. Hi, guys. How are you? Warriors rise.
Is anybody else in the call?
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yep. We have 1,
Oh.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Am I
Hi,
counting? 3?
Betsy, Laura.
Hi, everybody.
You got Joe and Heidi join.
Wow,
Hi,
Joe and
guys.
Heidi look like they're on a TV show.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
Put
You did, Heidi.
in that donut.
Yeah. Who else a donut? I'm just kidding. You got sunshine
Oh, I
coming up.
can see everybody now.
Hi,
Well, I'm gonna
Mel.
put my phone on mute. We're almost to the house, so.
Cool. Salmon. Awesome. I think we'll wait. A couple more people
Oh,
mentioned.
someone else coming in.
Yep.
Here comes Jess.
Yeah, I think there's a couple people. Oh, should I put on my hat?
Heidi, is that real behind you? Is that your backyard?
My
You're
hallway.
muted. We can't hear you.
Oh no, it's a green screen, right?
I don't know,
We
but
do have a green
So
screen,
good. It-
but it's a picture of our backyard.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow,
really
so
is.
beautiful.
That looks cool.
Oh, Anna Maria's coming in.
Now look at all these people. Nice.
That's awesome.
Make me nervous. Man.
They're still rolling in.
All the questions I have zero answers for. I'm just kidding.
And just so you know, I'm just working. So if I go like dead silent or if I'm doing something, you know what happened.
And we're recording the call, guys. So 'cause we had some new warriors that joined today. So wait a couple more minutes and we'll get started. And so just the format of the call, what I'll do is I'm going to go over the PowerPoint that I created inside the Academy and tell you guys kind of how my brain got to this point, how I got involved in this. One thing I'll share with you guys 100%, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. I'm just documenting my journey to. Oh, you did change it on YouTube. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm just sharing with you guys my brain. How it works. I had no idea how much interest people had in this new quantum financial system we're heading into. So I do have a banking background, 12 years in banking, and that's when all this started in my brain 9 years ago in banking school. So, you think, Mike, should I just get started?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Yes, I think we had, I know a couple people are jumping on. Is it in? Everybody on? Okay, cool. I think that's everybody that texted me. Okay, awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much. So I'm glad this is being recorded. So I'll share with you guys. First, I'll walk you through the call. I'll go as briefly as I can, but there's a lot of questions that I put on the Word document. So now one thing I'll share with you guys is, remember, none of this is financial advice, right? It's just me sharing with you guys my economic view and where we're heading based on a banking perspective and what I used to be in banking. And then really starting to diving deep for the last 9 years and how I got to where I'm at now and my thought process. Then I'm actually going to show you some technical analysis in regards to the cryptocurrency world. And one thing I'll share with you guys, actually, let me share with you my screen here. Well, yeah, so I'll share with you guys. So many of you guys know I had I went into banking, went up into retail banking, learned how to run banks, went into executive banking school. And so I learned how to run banks from the ground up. And so in executive banking school, we went into like a simulation type thing, and you had to graduate, you had to build a bank from the ground up, basically. So you had to start at the bottom. You had to build, first year you were an executive, second year you were CFO, and then the third year you were the CEO. So you had to make decisions all the way through, and you had to start your bank from the bottom all the way to the top. And then year 2 of our banking school, they had shared with us when we came back, they're like, we need to switch to fintech. And so we're like, fintech, what's that? Financial technology. And so really focus on the infrastructure of financial technology. So now back then, what that meant to me was talking ATMs, talking teller, like the more technology type stuff, right? Well, let's back up quite a bit. So let's start in 1913, right? So 1913, the Federal Reserve was enacted. And that's when I started to really dive into that, was when I was in banking. So I would ask the question all the time. I'm like, where do we get this money from? Where does the money come from, right? And so they'd be like, the Federal Reserve. I'm like, well, who's the Federal Reserve? I thought it was part of the government. Well, the Federal Reserve is 13 of the richest families in the world that created, which made sense at the time, they created what's called the Federal Reserve, which protected the central banks. Okay, so now where do they get a lot of their money from? They're lending, right? They're central banks. So you have the JP Morgans, you have the Rothschilds. I could go through all the 13 families, but so they created the Federal Reserve to protect the central banks from the fall, right? And so at that point, our dollar was attached to the gold standard. So we were attached, so you had dollars backed by gold. So it had value to it, which was awesome. So let's fast forward to about 1971. So in 1944, there was the Bretton Woods gold standard. What you're going to hear a lot, I'll keep doing the YouTube videos, but the IMF meetings, you're going to hear them saying in the beginning, we need to go back to a Bretton Woods standard. What that means is we need to go back to a gold-backed standard, right? We need our currency backed by something, and I'll kind of walk through that. So in 1971, Nixon detached us from the gold standard. From that point on, they just started basically just printing money. And so, and kind of we'll fast forward to 2008. So we had one of the biggest in America. We had a huge housing crisis, just a huge crash, right? Well, what happened was during that crash, there was a Band-Aid put on it, and it just hasn't It's gotten worse and worse, and it looked like it got better. And so you're going to see things like GDP, gross domestic product. I just showed somebody today, they had announced on the news that the GDP is doing really well, and the GDP is not doing really well. It's worse than the Great Depression right now. And so where am I getting this information from? Is from the IMF, so the International Monetary Fund, and that's who does all the numbers for the whole world. They're looking at us economically right now. The impoverished countries right now can't even get money out of their country. It's too expensive. Number two, impoverished countries now can't even pay their debt, their minimum debt payments anymore. And so now where we're at as a country, in America specifically, is our GDP is worse than the Great Depression. Our debt to income ratio, so for example, what is GDP? GDP is gross domestic product. So all the goods and services in the whole America, right? If we sold them all, could we pay off our debt, or how much money do we have, right? So if we walked into a car dealership, we get declined for a loan as an American, as in America, right? And so just to kind of give you an aspect, so our debt is more than our GDP. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. Now we're all locked down in our houses, the C word, right? The pandemic, we're locked down. And so now what's happening is, what's happened this year specifically is we've been getting a lot of stimulus checks, PPP money, businesses are getting funding, right? So a lot of businesses right now are living off of, it happened in 1980 in Japan. It's called a zombie economy. So there's a lot of small businesses right now, and that's the engine of the US economy, that are surviving off of bailout money. There's really not an increase in products or services because most of them are restricted. Our gym got shut down twice. Gyms got shut down. They got opened back up. Hotels are at very low occupancy, right? People are doing Airbnbs. Our whole system has changed, and I'll go into that in just a second. So there will be another second round of stimulus. So I'm just telling you guys how my brain works. This is how I rationalize all this. So there will be another second round of stimulus, right? So Germany, someone's in Germany. Germany, the narrative too. The narrative said Germany's locked down. I mean, they made it sound like Germany was like, they're locked down, they're handcuffed, they're in their houses, right? There also was articles coming out saying that they're going to give businesses 70% of their income to survive. Now that could happen, right? So what if they did that? So what if Kev and I get our business shut down and we start getting 70% of our income to put our feet up and just sit here? We're not increasing any products, goods, or services. We're not increasing the GDP. So there's money, free money coming to us. There's no increase in value going out into the economy, and the debt just keeps raising, right? So the position that the whole world is in right now economically is the GDP in most countries is worse than the Great Depression, around the Great Depression. I can show you some GDP numbers. But also our debt is super, super high, right? So what happens when somebody is, if you're a person, a human, a person, obviously we're all human, but if you're buried in debt, you have no money coming in anymore, what do people do? File bankruptcy, right? They'll reset their economy. They'll reset the debt. So we're in a position now where you're going to hear the word Great Reset a lot. So this is what I've been studying for a while. Now this has been talked about for a while. So if you watch the video that I did in 2006, or the video about 2016, the IMF was predicting this already. Another thing is 2015, they had created the digital task force. And so that was already created. They were already creating the digital blockchain. The digital task force was already being created to operate on a blockchain. Now, why would we do that? Now let's talk about just facts and sense, right? So not just like, here's what some news reporter says. So we operate what's called on the SWIFT system right now. So the SWIFT system is an old antiquated system. It's 50 years old. So when I go to the bank and I need to do a wire transfer, so I walk into Wells Fargo and I'm transferring money to Selman to buy a house for $5 million, right? Because that's going to happen next year. So I'm transferring money to him to get a house for $5 million, right? So I go into the bank, I sit with the banker and I'm like, okay, I want to transfer this $5 million. The banker's like, yay, I'm going to get this high value customer. Well, the bank is like, okay, I need this money on liquidity to be able to move that money across from US dollars up through SWIFT, all through all these currencies back down to Selman. Well, that's about a 2 to 3 day process, maybe a 48-hour process, right? It costs the customer quite a bit of money, it costs the bank money to move it across there. And then when it gets to Selman, all of a sudden, the actual exchange rate changed. And now Selman's short $30,000 for the $5 million home. So now the bank, I used to be a banker and exec, I would get these calls, oh, Mrs. Jones has 20 million on deposit. We just messed it up. She's $30,000 short. What are we gonna do? So then as a banker, you're like, oh my God, we got to figure this out. You don't want to lose that client. So now there's a liquidity risk, right? So the system is archaic. A narrative that's been out there, SWIFT has been hacked up. I think it's been hacked up to 16%. Like it gets hacked 16% of the time. I don't know if that's a narrative or not that they're trying to sell, that the FBI brought that up, that there's a big hack on SWIFT. But we can't move into this new PayPal, Cash, Venmo, all these different decentralized fintech type technology with an old archaic system. It's not going to work. So there's been blockchains like XRP. Ripple is the company. XRP solves the liquidity problem. Okay, so I'm kind of going into the crypto, but I want to kind of share with you guys how my brain started working with this. And this is how I really got into it. So I'm like, who's going to solve this problem? Because we have a huge problem right now. Countries can't get their money out of their country. Okay, so that's a problem. And so how are they going to move goods and services? Number two, they can't pay their debt now. So now we have countries that can't even take care of themselves. So America's in a really bad position, right? So think about this. How are we going to get out of this position? We would have to lend our way out of it. All of America lives off interest. So all of America lives off interest. If we're lending, we're good. If people are buying homes and they're getting credit cards, they're getting cars, we're good. But as soon as everybody starts defaulting on those loans and all this helicopter money, the helicopter money is like stimulus, all the stimulus money runs out, what are we going to do, right? What if tech starts taking over jobs and people that are, like tech, like retail, what if all these mom and pop restaurants go out of business? That's a lot of people losing their jobs. And I'm going to show you some videos. So imagine being, and I'm going to go into a coin right now, but like Ripple. So Ripple is a blockchain technology that goes into a bank and says, okay, so Mike owns a bank. And I say, Mike, so the number one job as a banker is to mitigate risk, right? So every time someone walks in the bank, you're mitigating risk. If you're doing a loan, you're looking to see, is this person going to pay it back? Is this person going to be a good creditor? Are they going to make us payments? Do they have enough money on deposit to help with the loan, right? So I go to Mike and I say, listen, I know you're not getting the bank repos right now. You're not getting the liquidity you need. So here's what we're going to do. So we're going to be in the background and I'm going to solve a problem for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold all the liquidity risk for you, 100% liquidity risk. All you do is tell your customers, you can move money at the speed of light. They move $50 million for 30 cents, $50 million for 30 cents in 3 seconds. It's already been done. Okay, now this is happening right now. This is already set up. There's 300 banks running on the XRP Ripple. So that's an example of what blockchain does. But let me go into, I'm going to present my PowerPoint to you guys and show you, but I just want to show you guys how my brain works. So when I kept asking myself in banking, I was like, where does this money come from? And I was like, and everybody would kind of giggle at me. They're like, the federal. I'm like, what's so funny? Why am I missing the joke? And so when everybody was out at happy hour, I started studying at a deep level, the Federal Reserve and where it comes from. And I started to understand that the richest people in the world, they move the economy, right? So where the billionaires go, the economy goes. So some other things before I go into the PowerPoint is if you want to, you look at what the billionaires are doing, right? So Tim Draper's a billionaire shouting cryptocurrency, right? You look at Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett, not in cryptocurrency. I'm not going to say he's in cryptocurrency, but Warren Buffett made a big move just recently. So he would call people who bought gold and silver gold bugs, right? He called them gold bugs. And so he'd make fun of them. Well, at 90 and 91, him and his business partner decreased almost all their holdings in all banks except one, Bank of America. They increased their holdings by 10%. They came out of Wells Fargo, they came out of Chase, they lowered it. So they're number one, Apple, number two is Bank of America. And then they moved into gold mines. So what is that? What would that tell you if one of the wealthiest people, one of the most touted investors in the world, is moving from a dollar-based investment into assets, right? So if you have a currency that's not backed by anything, it's deflating, it's deflating, it's deflating. The US dollar is deflated by 97%. Now the narrative you hear is it's doing well compared to other currencies. They compare it to the other world currencies, right? Compared to other world currencies that are deflated by 98 to 99%, right? So if your dollar's deflating, where would you go, right? They call it God's money. You go back to gold, because this isn't just about cryptocurrency, it's about assets, right? So gold, silver, houses, right? Anything that's tangible you can hold on to. And so that's where a lot of investors right now are looking at in regards to where would you hold a store of value. So that's where we're at in our economy right now. That's a fact. With Germany being locked down, Chicago's starting to get locked down again. I guess somebody told me New Mexico's getting locked down. And when the flu hits, we're all getting, now the coronavirus is real. There's really stuff happening with the coronavirus, right? There's the flu's coming. So we're going to get locked back down. When you get locked back down, you got to ask yourself, when all this money's coming in, what does that mean? Like when more money comes in, that means more money's being pumped into the economy, right? With no lending happening with that as well. So a couple things you might see, these are my predictions based on my research, is you may see, you're seeing negative rates, interest rates at the lowest they've ever been right now, right, in history. Some people are getting loans at 1.9%, unbelievable interest rates on loans. So you may see, and this is, Trump has said this, Germany went to, I think it was Germany, went to negative interest rates. They're going negative. Okay, they did. Okay, so Germany went to negative interest rates. He said, we want to follow Germany to negative interest rates. Now, what does that mean? So if you go negative interest rates on your loans, that means you go into the bank and they pay you to basically get a loan. On the other hand, when they launch a digital dollar, you'll have what's called a digital dollar and you'll have a fiat dollar. Now, fiat currency means issued by a government, right? So if you have a digital Fed wallet, the digital dollar is very different than the actual fiat dollar. They'll call it a dollar because it's the same. If a digital dollar is in a wallet, what can happen is if you have negative interest rates for a loan, how would you stimulate the economy? So if you live off interest, you have negative interest rates on a loan, and you have money sitting in your account, what would they want you? They want you to use that money, correct? They need you to use that money because we have to stimulate the economy. We need people going to restaurants, we need people buying houses, buying cars. So what they could do is they could deflate the value of the money in the account, and it forces people to pump the economy back up. And so the money, so instead of putting your money in the account where it's deflating, you're going to go buy stuff, right? So that's one of the concepts. You're going to hear a thing. I don't know. There's so many. There is a thing called Jassara. Now, if you go look at that, it's a rabbit hole. You're going to see a lot of conspiracy theories, people saying, oh, don't worry, in January, they're going to wipe out all your debt. Don't rely on that. Pay your debt. don't act like, because when you read it, you're like, it sounds like they're just going to wipe out your debt. IMF, they were announcing, said that they're going to be restructuring all the foreign countries' debt, right? So when you read that, there's a lot of people out there selling you a narrative. Don't even pay your debt. Don't even worry about it. Who knows? I think it means government debt. I think it means like student loans, things like that, right? That's where I think it's going, which would be great. That's fantastic. And then we start over with a new system, new monetary system. Okay, so let me go into, a lot of you guys want to hear about cryptocurrency. So let me, so Mike, can you just enable my screen sharing? Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, where's that?
You might have to make me a host as well, or maybe switch me to the host.
Oh, I'll make you host. Yeah, let's try that. Okay.
The hostess with the mostest. Here we go. Cool. All right, so I may disappear. I don't know how this is going to work with the grid screen. Whoa. Hey, guys. Can you guys see me? Or can you see?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep, both.
Yeah, we see your screen.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the PowerPoint pretty quickly. A lot of you probably have gone over that. And then I'm going to show you the chart, this boring stuff, technical analysis, okay? Just so you guys know, it's a lot of people like, where do you get your information from? So the interesting thing right now, the world we're in, there's these young people that are super duper smart. So you'll hear the biggest shift in generational wealth is happening right now. So you have these tech geniuses that are behind their computers creating algorithms and understanding the market. And that's what you're seing right here. This is, let me move you guys real quick. So this right here, I just want to show you guys something that's kind of exciting. So this is the Bitcoin when it went parabolic in 2017, the bull run, right? So this is the bull run in 2017. The crazy thing is, if you look at market cycles, they follow the exact same market cycle over and over again every 3 years. Now here's where we're at right now, and we're heading right back into a bull run. It's almost the exact, so, and in November, it's October, it started to go up. November, it's going to shoot up, and they say December, it's going to go to 20,000. It's a market cycle. Now there's another thing that you need to know is that you have what's called whales in the market. And I don't want to get too technical. Let's see if I can get the indicator to show up here. See if I can get a whale indicator to show up. I got to go to a shorter time frame here. A minute. Trying to find a yellow X. So yellow X, so these young men have created these algorithms, right? That show, like, for example, down here, that's a buying point. That's a hold point. These are, I'm trying to get the right market cipher here. 1 second. Indicators. Okay. I just messed it all up. Give me 1 second. Sorry, it's hard with I have everybody on the screen, so it's like messing with my. Take that one out. Market cipher. Boom. I just want to show you
Tom,
guys.
if it's easier, you can go out of gallery view or grid view and then just go into the single view and minimize the left, and then you'll just see your entire screen.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, let me do that. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So I'll just talk. Okay, so I can't see you guys, but okay, so that's the market cycle I was showing you guys. So I'll show you guys something really quickly. So I'll just show you that real quick. So basically we're going back into the market cycle. It's just a market cycle. And then I'm going to show you something, and then I'll go through my PowerPoint, and then I'll answer questions. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something really neat. So this is what you call, I had all this stuff pulled up. Okay, so this is called the psychology of a market, right? So this is where most people right here. So this is where we've been for a long time with cryptocurrency, right? So if it went in a bull run in 2017, since 2017, it's been right here, right? There was a depression, goes through here. Now we're in what's called disbelief. And then we're moving to this side. If you guys can see my screen over here, we're moving right here, right? So what happens is in investing, whether it's stock market, whether it's cryptocurrency, what happens is people get into disbelief and they sell out, right? And then all of a sudden right now, Bitcoin, everybody's talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going on the bull run. We all knew it was coming. So now people start to get hope, right? So you're going to start to see money flowing into the market. Then it gets to optimism. Right when everybody starts seeing Bitcoin on their PayPal account, it's going to be like, here we go. We believe now. We believe. And a couple things we need to remember is that Jamie Dimon in 2017, I was actually in banking, told bankers, he said that you're stupid if you buy Bitcoin. He said you're also a criminal if you buy Bitcoin. And lo and behold, Chase Bank, now Bank's the #1 cryptocurrency platform in the world. They're actually just created their JPM coin, and they're actually asking banks to come on board their blockchain. So y'all, you don't always want to believe what the billionaires say. You want to watch what they're doing. PayPal last year, you can watch these YouTube videos I created. PayPal last year said that cryptocurrency is a fraud. And you guys all saw the announcement. PayPal is actually launching cryptocurrency in 2 weeks. So what's going to happen is we're going to hit what's called the belief phase. And it goes through this cycle no matter what. So it goes through belief phase. And what happens is we get into thrill, right? And then it gets to euphoria. And this is where everybody gets super excited and they get caught up and they think it's going to keep going up. And this is when it crashes. So you're going to start to head in. Bitcoin's going to go here. Optimism is going to go into belief, thrill. And then this is where you want to buy out, right? And I'll talk about that a little bit. I'm going to break it down a little bit more. But this is a market cycle. All markets follow this. Okay, so now here's where we are with the cryptocurrency. And it's going to go into a bull run. Bitcoin always goes first. And then altcoins, which is Bitcoin is the brand name, right? Bitcoin is its own coin. It's really has no utility to it. It's just a store of value. Then you have altcoins, which is all other coins, right? You have XRP. So it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP are the top 3. And then you have all these altcoins. Now, just like stocks, you have a lot of really crappy stuff out there. So you got to be very, very careful. Okay, cool. So I just want to show you guys a market cycle. So when you're investing in anything like cryptocurrency, for example, you never want to make it to euphoria, because euphoria, it's coming down. It's about like, you don't want to get greedy, right? So if you see it going up and you're like, it's going to keep going up. And when you have that feeling, you get out. You buy out and you wait till it goes back down. And so what the smart money does, they call it the smart money, that's the whales, right? What whales do is, I was going to try to show you guys this chart, the X's, but what whales do is they can make the market look like this. What they'll do is they'll take the market. That's why you see cryptocurrency so volatile right now. You'll see the whales, they'll take a bunch of money and they'll move it out of Bitcoin, which will show like a red flow to it. And then what happens is that drops the price, and they call us weak investors. That's what they call us. The weak investors, they shake them out. So they shake them out of the market. That drops the price even more. The whales buy back in at the bottom, and then everybody comes back in because they go into belief, and it just goes in a cycle over and over and over again. That's basically how it works in any market, right? Okay, especially in the cryptocurrency market. Let me go into my PowerPoint here. Okay, so this is basically my wealth distribution strategy. So cryptocurrency investing, right? So this is where the stage I'm in right now. So I've just been accumulating. Some of you know my story. I lost everything, and I went to work. I started flipping stuff, and it was such a low price point, entry point, that I just started accumulating. And so what I would do is I'd accumulate, I'd sell low, or I'd sell high, buy low, sell high, and that's how I got to where I'm at now. Staking crypto, there's ways you can stake your crypto, which is you can create monthly income. So if you have a good amount of cryptocurrency, you can stake it at very high interest. So you stake the crypto, they're giving you a really high interest rate, and it's trading in the market at the same time. Crypto-backed loans, most of the cryptocurrency platforms, Coinbase announced that they're going to put out their own credit card. You're going to hear about DeFi lending, cryptocurrency. They're going to be their own bank, basically. And this is my thing, buying more small businesses as it moves in real estate. So I'll move through this quickly. I think a lot of you have seen this. The mystery of Bitcoin. So the mystery, Mr. Nakamoto. Nobody knows who Mr. Nakamoto is. Isn't that weird to you guys? So in 2008, Bitcoin was created by Mr. Nakamoto. Nobody knows who he is. So I think it's the government. That's my conspiracy coming out. Like I mean, how do you know with all, just let me get my conspiracy goggles on. But how do you think with all the technology, the CIA, the FBI, that we don't know who created Bitcoin? Well, think about it. All these banks now are moving to the blockchain. And so this is all happening too. There's people that work in the bank that I know that don't even know this is happening because it's all happening behind the scenes. We're moving to the new quantum financial system. 2009, Bitcoin begins. 2010, it's valued for the first time. 2011, rival cryptocurrencies emerge. Bitcoin price crashes. Everybody's like, it's a fraud, it's a fraud. Now, one thing you have to think about, okay? Bitcoin, if anything is like Enron, right? When Enron failed, it went down to 0. Bitcoin never went under 3,500 when it failed. There's nothing that is a fraud that is going to hold its value like that. So people made millions. They became Bitcoin billionaires, right? And it never went under 3,500 when it crashed. Scams and theft. So you're going to see, so there's someone said something about the Wild Wild West, which I'm going to talk about. It's just like anything, guys. There's going to be so many cryptocurrency scams coming out. It's going to be so heavy. So a couple things, if you're ever in cryptocurrency, don't ever send your money to anybody you don't know. Don't ever fall for any type, there's no like, send us some Bitcoin, we're going to send you your money back or whatever, like, double up your, don't respond to emails, anything like that, unless it's from your platform that you're using. Ethereum ICOs, 2017, Bitcoin reached 10,000 and continued to grow. Right now it's at 13.5. 2017, coins were actually utility emerge, and that's the ones that I'm heavily invested in. The writing on the wall, the Federal Reserve created the financial system for the United States. That was for protect the central banks, right? The gold standard was abandoned in 1933 and completely severed in 1971. So it's completely severed by President Nixon. And it theoretically held government from overspending, right? That's what the gold did. And so now we can just print. 1971 to current, government overspending, printing money, deflating the value of our dollar, right? And most countries are in this position. Canada, Germany, most countries are in the exact same position right now. Another thing you guys need to know is this tomorrow starts the fiscal year. So October starts a fiscal year for banking. So as we're all focused on other things, right now, the IMF was meeting, the G20 meeting is happening. These are global financial meetings. They were re-evaluating the currencies. We had 80 trillion in LIBOR get reset. So now you're going to hear about LIBOR and CIBOR. We're moving from to Cypher. LIBOR to Cypher. LIBOR was a system that they found that it was what do you call it, a scandal, because it's like I imagine bankers sitting back drinking some whiskey, some, the top bankers in the world, and they're like, all right, what do you guys want to charge for interest rates today? Like, let's do 3%. Okay, that's basically what was happening with LIBOR. And so that was the Federal Reserve type thing. I don't want to speak out of school. That basically that's how I picture it, right? And there's a lot of articles about it. So LIBOR is actually going away in 2021. We're moving to Cypher. So Cypher. And so I think I did a YouTube video on that as well. So that's getting in the weeds, but I just really want you to know I'm not just looking at this from cryptocurrency. This is how I got to my conclusion. Current GDP negative, our dollar's losing value, our stock market's propped up. I mean, if you think about this, how could the stock market be that high with GDP worse than it's ever been? Unemployment is usually when you hear unemployment on the news, they're not calculating it correctly. They're not giving you the right calculations. Global economic crash, there's a lot of corruption going on, right? So Trump signed the executive order 13772, bringing in the new economy. That was in 2017, which was really reenacting or getting the 2015 digital task force going. Let's see. So U.S. Department of Treasury and financial system that creates economic opportunities, non-bank financials, fintech, and innovation. So let me repeat that. So this was in 2017. This was an executive order. You can pull this up on the government website. So U.S. Department of Treasury and financial system that creates economic opportunities, non-bank financials, fintech, and innovation. That's what the executive order was. So a needed hero, asset-backed currency. I mean, even take out crypto, gold, silver. You just want something tangible, right? New emerging industry, new system of banking, new system of supply chain management, new system of commerce. Let me stop for a moment there. So with banking, right? So if I own a bank, you know, I know how to build a bank from the ground up through my banking school. If I owned a bank, what I would be doing is rapidly moving into the cryptocurrency space, so they are, because federally now they're able to custody cryptocurrency. So banks are now allowed to custody, hold your cryptocurrency. Eventually, you're going to see a digital wallet for your dollar, and then you're going to see a digital currency or cryptocurrency wallet. So you'll be able to hold. So I'll be able to take my cryptocurrency, and eventually, I'm not sure if Wells are, but I'm just saying, imagine I would bank at Wells. I could go to Wells and I can have a crypto wallet, and I can have my my fiat or government issued wallet. Okay. The brutal truth: most people are going to be left behind. It's going to create a whole new 1%. Why do we say the uncommon 1% or the new shift in generational wealth? It's a bunch of young tech people who are in the cryptocurrency space, a bunch of really young tech people, like the guy that I has as a crypto that does a technical analysis. He's 24 years old and he's a multi-millionaire. He's been just trading and buying and selling cryptocurrency since it mooned in 2017. Some people are going to lose a lot of money. That's just what it is, you know. People will keep their old ways. Everything changes for us. Things are changing. We are changing. That's a fact. We're moving into a new quantum financial system. You just have to listen to the narrative. Listen to what they're saying. Trump has said multiple times we're going to an even playing field. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, even playing field. Julie Shelton, who is now the seat in the Fed that runs and helps move our economy, right? She said we're going to an even playing field. She also said we're going to a gold-backed standard in a cryptocurrency type of way. She was quoted saying that. And these things just aren't coming up, right? You're just not seeing these things in the news. People have been programmed for years to control by elites. That's on my own stuff. This is how it's slowly been planned out. It's not happening right away, guys. And I'm not talking like scandal and pandemic stuff. What I'm just saying, this is where we have to go. I'm talking economics. I'm not talking, you know, that there's some black swan event or anything. I'm saying this is economics and this is where we're heading. The great news, I say you are the new 1%. You know, your family will thank you. You can build generational wealth. You can create massive freedom. You can live a life on your terms. It sounds like I'm selling you guys something. I'm not a financial advisor. Disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys have read this. I've said that a million times. Okay. So this is my personal routine. You guys have this in the academy here. But I just want to show you some utility on coins. So this is how I invest in projects. So I look at the team. I look at the leadership team. I look at the board of directors, and I look to see where they came from. If you look at Ripple, which is XRP's coin, you'd be shocked if you see the leadership team. American Express. I mean, it's unbelievable where you see where these people have come from to go on these leadership. So what you do is you look to see where people are moving. The top lawyer for Coinbase left Coinbase to become the second in charge of our operation of currency control. So think about that. So the top lawyer for Coinbase, the top cryptocurrency platform, moved to become the second in charge of the OCC, which is Operation of Currency Control for America. So you're seeing these moves happen, and it's like, these are the things that I'm watching, right? So tech, partnerships, price entry point, longevity, and originality. One of my favorite coins is Ripple XRP. It's global payment platforms. They're remittances. They're already doing remittances. They solve the problem that they keep bringing up, that countries can't get money out of their country. They're literally solved the problem already. Ripple does it in seconds for pennies on the dollar, right? They also have the liquidity problem. So this is interesting too. I'll show you guys something really. I'll just stop for a second. I'll show you guys something. So it's centralized. It works with regulators. XRP actually works with regulators. They call this the banker coin because Bitcoin was supposedly created to get you away from the banking system. But XRP is actually, Ripple is the company, works with regulators. They have an iCloud system where they can get a bank up and running within 10 minutes. Like literally they can go in a bank and say, you can be on the system in 10 minutes. Partnerships, American Express, they already work with MoneyGram, many more. So VeChain, I want to talk about these two. These are two of my favorite. VeChain is basically supply chain management. So as money moves at the speed of light, supply chain management needs to move at the speed of light. VeChain signed on with McDonald's for food safety. So you can imagine how big that's going to be. And they already tested Shanghai Walmart for food safety. And they also they're basically clarity, right? So if I was to get these headphones at my house, eventually you'll have a barcode, you'll scan it. That's what VeChain does. And you'll be able to see who touched these headphones all the way from building all the way to my hands. right? So what they'll be doing is for medications. So they'll be able to do for medications, for like Louis Vuitton bags, anything like that. So it'll be basically taking away fraud out of the system. And they've done remarkable things. So they're with Shanghai Walmart. They ran flawlessly. And then McDonald's, they just signed with McDonald's for food safety. I wouldn't eat at McDonald's, just so you know. Let's see. So this is basically, I just want to show you that this is in the actual, in the academy. But I wanted to go into some of these questions here. But let me come back on. I don't know, is it safe to ask questions? Because it'd be like bombarded. I don't know. Should I guess, Mike, what do you think? You think I should go through the questions that were asked first? Probably.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Let me do that. Okay. And I'll do the best I can to answer some of these. Some of these I don't have the answer to. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. And I'm not gonna pretend like I have all the answers to everything. What I do know is that we're moving to a new quantum financial system. I do know that. What I also know is that the economy is in really bad shape. And what I do know is something, and we're moving from industrial to tech. That's basically what we're doing. That's why they keep calling it the biggest shift in economic wealth. The way that I picture it from my perspective, imagine Henry Ford's making cars, right? And so Henry Ford's making cars. We're over here with our horse and buggy. You're like, nobody's going to drive those cars. They're going to be too expensive. Then he makes a car that's affordable, right? And there's a group of people sitting there going, I'm going to get into oil and gas. I bet you those cars are going to do really well. And the next thing you know, that's the richest people in the world, right? The oil families, things like that. Now we're moving into tech boom, Silicon Valley. We're just moving into a different realm of the way people do finances, the way we live, the way we walk. Think about everything is subscriptions now. Your TV is subscription. Everything you do is a subscription base. We move from hotels to Airbnbs. We move from taxis to Uber. We're moving into this gig-based society where, hey, I'll help you, you help me. And then if you watch that YouTube video that the Global Economic Forum, was it, Kev? Yeah, Global Economic Forum, World Economic Forum. So we watch this video and it'll make your heart stop a little bit. It's like, in 2016, they showed a video where they said, you will own nothing in 2030. They're excitingly saying that. Guess what? You'll own nothing in 2030. Everything will be rented, even your clothes. It sounds crazy, right? But then you see the movies that are backing it up, and this is the World Economic Forum that helps make decisions globally, right? And so I don't know, that could be happening. But if you look at the way we're going into this gig-based society, renting other people's houses, renting people's cars, you can rent out a car now on Turo. Okay, so I'm going to go through all these questions. Once we sell the money from our crypto coins, then how do we get the money for the sale? Is it something that we deposit in our account? So great question. I wish I could share my phone. So basically what you would do is you have on your most cryptocurrency. So I use crypto.com. I love crypto.com. It's one of the most user-friendly platforms out there. Coinbase, I have Coinbase. For me, it's a little bit more difficult, but the reason why also I'm invested in crypto.com too, because crypto.com bought the domain name for $15 million from some guy that had crypto.com. So think about it, when everybody signs on, when it goes parabolic and people are like, oh, we're going to crypto, everybody's gonna be typing in crypto and it's gonna pop up number one. And so that I also invest in that app, but it's very user-friendly. So if you're on crypto.com, and you sell some of your coin, right? So what you do is you sell it into your fiat. It's going to go into your fiat. Okay, so you'll see it. You'll have a fiat wallet on all Coinbase. You're going to have that. You're going to have a dollar wallet, right? So when you sell it, it's going to go into your dollar wallet. From that point, you can move that into your regular bank account, like Wells Fargo, Chase. What you have to do is you have to connect the two. So what I'd recommend is getting the two connected. I got it connected about a month and a half ago. And so I practice, and you just practice moving money back and forth. It does take about 3 days, but you do want to be ready for that if you run into a moon situation where the coin just takes off and you pull profits. But you can also, so if you see it mooning, you can pull profits and put it right into your fiat dollar. Like for example, I've been playing the Bitcoin game this last couple of weeks. And so Bitcoin went up $600 yesterday. I called scalping. I scalped off the top. I put $600 away. When it dropped back down, I bought back in with the same $600. So I just bought for my fiat. If I wanted to, I could take that 600 and transfer it right to my normal bank account. You can also transfer from your bank account right into your fiat account in most crypto platforms, all crypto platforms. Farming coins, selling and farming. Okay, so farming's DeFi. So I'll tell you my story about DeFi. And so one thing I'll share with you guys is, so I was getting into DeFi and I was getting greedy. I lost $3,000 in one day. So farming coins, what it means is there's DeFi projects that come up, new projects that come up, right? And so these projects, what they do is to fund their project, they basically do, it's kind of like I would consider it crowdfunding, I guess. Like, hey, if you put money into our coin, as we try to get this out to the marketplace, we're going to give you a huge return on your investment in our coin, right? So you can make a lot of money on farming, right? The problem is they're brand new coins. So two things I saw when I was farming coins. Number one, I got humbled. I didn't know how much gas fees were. So there's gas fees when you're moving, like when you're moving on Ethereum or Bitcoin, there's what's called gas fees, because someone has to actually mine those coins. Someone's at a computer mining those coins. And I can go a little bit deeper into that, right? So I'm moving money back and forth. I'm farming, going back and forth. I was doing really well. One day I made like 2,500 one day. And then all of a sudden the next day I didn't understand about gas fees and I lost 3,000. So it's very, very, very risky, super risky. Number two, another project I saw, by the grace of God, somebody called me and disrupted me doing a trade into a farming token, and I'm not discouraging from this. Unless you're an experienced trader, right, I wouldn't do it. So I was about to hit buy into a farming token, a farming coin, or basically farming, and somebody called me and disrupted it, and it timed out, and the next day the whole coin failed. And so people lost millions and millions. And so by the grace of God, somebody called me. So right then I was like, okay, stop getting greedy. So I stopped farming. So I highly wouldn't recommend it. I'm in it for the long-term game. And so, and I'll walk in that sec. I think that's a question. What apps does he use in trading and buying? I use, so trading, so I'm just scalping. I went on crypto.com. So it's not the proper way to trade, right? I'm going to show you so you have the trading. So I use TradingView. That was what I was showing you guys. It's called TradingView. And I'll get you guys all these resources. TradingView is the one that I use because that's what my cryptocurrency coach uses. I'm learning technical analysis. So I get my technical analysis from my cryptocurrency coach, just so you guys know. I don't have time to do TA, but it's nice to be able to see market cycles. I understand market cycles, and Kev actually used to work at Charles Schwab, so he was able to help me define candles and wicks and stuff like that. But in the scheme of things, you sell high, you buy low. You sell high, you buy low. And it's a pretty simple strategy, right? Because what goes up always comes down. Now that's in the bear market, right? When the bull run hits and it goes, whew, it shoots up to 20,000. When Bitcoin, and there's a question here and I'm going to walk you through that. When Bitcoin shoots to 20,000, I'm going to pull profits from there and I'm going to get back into my altcoin position. So I moved into Bitcoin to catch the moon, and then altcoins are coming next. What price should we exit? Okay, so that's a personal decision. So like, for example, that's why we have the Discord. I'm going to be sharing with you guys, like, for example, if XRP, and this is total, like just like this, if you guys see in the Academy, if you go to that section, I show you my exact plan of what I'm doing. So if XRP goes to $10, I'm going to pull 20%, or I'm going to sell a certain percentage of my profit. If it goes to 50, I'm going to pull a certain percent. So I'm basically going to skim off a little bit of profits and then buy into, so 80% of my portfolio is long-term. And then the 20% is more my riskier coins, right? The buying and selling, going back in, buying and selling. I'm just going to keep you guys updated on what I'm doing. It's really a personal preference, to be honest with you. Now, when you see something mooning, you're going to know when it's mooning. Everybody's going to be talking about it. I'm going to be talking about it. There's going to be a big moon. So we're going into the bull run. It's coming up, right? So Bitcoin's going to go up first. Altcoins are going to come in February, and then it's going to be like something you've never seen last year, right? It's the exact market cycle. September, from what all the coaches I've had, I've dealt with a lot of 5 different coaches, and all of them say September, you want to back out and it's going to crash and you buy back in, goes back in the market cycle. Then there'll be a long bear run. It's just going to be these little tiny bumps for the next 3 years, and that's going to do it again. It goes in this 3, 6, 9 cycle. So it's called the Fibonacci sequence. Let's see, okay, so this is a great question. What are the tax implications when you sell crypto? So this is the biggest issue right now. So this is the biggest issue with cryptocurrency is regulation, right? So China is way ahead of us in regulation. So Ripple is actually thinking about leaving America to another country because of the lack of regulation. They actually said that. They said, we're leaving if America doesn't get their regulation going. The problem with this, if this is a narrative, I don't know, but we're battling against China. There's this battle with China. China's way ahead of us in regulation. They're adopting their digital yuan already. And so America's not going to let that happen, right? So we're trying to catch up, but we're also really behind on regulation. And so one of the things with taxes, what I would recommend, or how they tax it right now, is like capital gains, like a house. So if you sold a house and you got capital gains, I personally, off your gains, I'd put away, I'm not a tax advisor, you want to ask your tax advisor, but I would put away 27%. So if you're gonna sell and take profit, put 27% in an account just until you do your taxes. Now, here's the thing. This is one thing people say, that if cryptocurrency is not coming around, did you see there's a new adjustment on your tax document? So next year on the top of your tax document, it will say on the top, did you buy or sell cryptocurrency? So you're gonna have to report it. That's the biggest issue that they're running into right now. So a lot of people don't know. I would consult a tax advisor. There is apps too. There's one called, let me see. So you're probably asking, well, how do I know how to do all this stuff? Coin Tracker, that's an app. I'll put these resources in the Academy, but Coin Tracker, you can attach that to your actual crypto exchange, and it will do the buys and sells and trades for you and print out a report for taxes. Okay. What crypto trading app do you I do use TradingView. Is it better to invest in many altcoins to lower risk, or just concentrate on a few coins such as BTC? That's a great question. So what you want to do is, so I do 80%, like for example, this setup right here, VET, XRP, Ethereum, that's basically my main setup right there. So I have BTC, Ethereum, XRP, and VeChain are my top holdings, right? That's my 80%. The rest of my 20% is more volatile coins, right? And so I take 20% that I'm just willing to lose. If I lose it, that's fine. And so I watch those, and when they moon, I take money out, and then I move them back into my long term. XRP is, I'm a huge fan of XRP. Like, I'm a huge fan of XRP. So yes, I think it's better to like kind of have a condensed portfolio until you have a good amount, because where you're gonna, if you're really getting into investing, and where you're gonna, how I did it is how I grew so fast in the last like 4 or 5 months, is I was really playing the buy low, sell high, and I'd keep going back into my long terms, right? So that's how I ended up getting a Bitcoin. So I was like, okay, I really wanted a Bitcoin really bad. I wasn't heavily in Bitcoin. And so I started buying low, selling high, did some DeFi projects, and I was able to get a Bitcoin. So I would just stay with the fundamentals, right? I'm not giving you advice, but what I would do is BTC, it's really expensive. It's $13,000. Ethereum is a lower price, right? You can buy Satoshi, you can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. And this is going to answer a question down the road. So somebody asked, would you rather buy 20 ETH or 1 Bitcoin? Well, think about upside potential. So with 1 Bitcoin, if it went to $20,000, you would make $7,000. If you had 20 Ethereum, okay, and it's supposedly, and this is technical analysis, this isn't guaranteed, no, nothing's a guarantee. So it's supposed to go to 1,000, right? So if it's at 380 right now, okay, let me do some math here. Minus 380. So you'd have $620 profit. And I think you said, would you rather buy 20 Ethereum or something like that? So your upside potential is $12,000, right? So with Ethereum and Bitcoin, there's a much less upside potential in regards to, because you can't buy as many coins, right? Now, when you talk about XRP and VeChain, right? VeChain it went under a penny today. It was like on sale, right? So VeChain, you can accumulate 300,000 VeChain for $10,000, right? And so if that goes to $1, you have $300,000. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go to $1. XRP is at 25 cents, right? So XRP, its all-time high is $3.28, $3.68. So it's already hit the all-time high at 368. So it has a potential to go back to that and even more. Now, XRP is going to be the bridge currency for the world. So it has a lot of XRP too. So like Bitcoin is scarce. So every 4 years, there's Bitcoin halving, right? So they have the Bitcoin. And so there's less being mined every year. That's why it's so attractive. I don't know if you guys saw the narrative that a lot of the athletes are asking to be paid in Bitcoin in the NFL and the NBA. Ethereum, just so you guys know, Ethereum is the birthing for almost all cryptocurrencies. So Ethereum is what births most cryptocurrency. Hopefully that makes sense. So I wouldn't do spread really thin across a bunch. I would rather accumulate more of these right here. I would rather have a big stack of these and then like dollar cost average into those. And I'll talk about that in just a second. Does it make more sense to invest in BTC right now? Because we're hoping it'll go to 20K soon, or return. That's a good question. I mean, so if you had enough to buy 1 Bitcoin, you're probably you could make $7,000, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gains. I'm going to reinvest back my position into my altcoin. So I condensed my altcoins, and I did some trades, and I went into BCC. And then, but if you're just doing it for long term and you're just placing money in, that's what I would do. I'd recommend, unless you're going to be trading. I just did a rough calculation. Price for Bitcoin. Okay, this is that question. I personally would buy, if this was me, 1 Bitcoin, I would buy 20 coins. I would. And I would dollar cost average into Bitcoin for a store of value. So I would just what is dollar cost averaging? So if you bought a little bit every single week, so say with your paycheck, you just dollar cost average in, you bought $50 every single week, right? You're beating market cycles because crypto is going to be like this. So that's why you got to be non-emotional with crypto, right? The stock market too, what goes out must come down, right? Goes, unless it's a fraud, right? If it's a fraud like Enron, it's going to crash. But what goes up must come down, right? So when it's coming down, remember, when it does this huge drop like this, that means the whales are moving money out. So they're trying to shake out the weak investors. So you ride it to the bottom, you buy at the bottom, and then you ride it back up, okay? Let's see, I know it's the Wild West for customer service. Okay, so great question. So this is a fact, right? Cryptocurrency is still the Wild Wild West, 100%. I'm not gonna act like it's not. The big risk out there is a cryptocurrency exchange could go down. You can't walk into, it's not like a Wells Fargo. You can't walk in there and knock on someone's door and be like, hey, where's my money? That's one of the biggest downfalls. It is the Wild Wild West right now. There's not a ton of regulation out there. So you have like Coinbase, you have Binance, you have Crypto.com. These are some of the top exchanges out there, but it's not like you have FDI. And so this is, it's a very good question. You don't have FDIC insurance. You can't go in there and be like, hey, can you get my money back? Your bank got robbed. And so that is definitely a huge concern. So anytime someone's investing, only invest what you can afford to lose. If you woke up the next day, you're like, okay, well, I tried. I mean, literally, I know that sounds weird, but have that attitude where it's like, you don't go out and mortgage your house and try to do something like this. It's something that for me, I'm like an all-in kind of guy, but I don't recommend doing that. You just, what you can afford, okay? With all of this investing, is there a way to do a test or check the balances to make sure you have access to your funds when a bull? Yep. So what you do like doing a test withdrawal or crypto debit card. Yes. So on crypto.com, you can actually have a debit card. And so you can actually load, I get paid and I put all my money into XRP. And so I use XRP basically as my store of value in my account. And so I have a crypto debit card. And so I top off my debit card and I use it to buy everything, smoothies, whatever it is, right? And so you can set up your bank account and you can transfer money back and forth. Does long-term investing in crypto make sense, or should we sell at all-time highs during the bullish cycle? What is your price prediction for the future? Great question. So yeah, long-term is the game, right? But if a coin, so say for me, I'm talking about me, if XRP goes up to $3.68, I'm going to pull. So unless we know with technical analysis, it's going to keep going up, right? Like a bull run. But if it shoots up to an all-time high, like I'll give you an example, VeChain, this is about a month ago, I think it was. I was sitting there with my son, I look and I'm like, holy crap, VeChain shot up. It shot up 20%. So it was like up 20%. So I took the math and I took 20%, I put it into my fiat, I sold it into fiat. When it went back down, I bought back in. So that would be an example of buying high. When it dropped back down, I bought back in low. Okay. But I would, it's kind of a short-term game because we got the bull run coming up next year. But I'm in it for the long term. So when I sell off, I'm not going to sell all my position. If we're brand new into buying crypto, how much do we have to wait to sell crypto to not get taxed on it? I don't think you'll always get taxed on it. I think there'll be, from what I've heard, I'm not a tax advisor, I don't know there's not a lot of clarity around taxes, just so you guys know. When you sell, so my cryptocurrency coach, he's waiting till next year to sell because he'll get a lower tax rate. And I don't know where he got that number. His tax account came up with that. So he's not taking profits until next year when his crypto has matured for a year. So I don't know a lot about the taxes. I'm not a tax advisor. And I don't think a lot of people know about the taxes. What's the lowest we should really load? What is the lowest we should really load our bags of crypto? Example, for each coin he has listed on his financial plan, what price should we consider buying more? Great question. Okay, so we have some specific coins like XRP. Anytime XRP is still a great price at 25 cents, I'm still buying in. If I have money, I buy into XRP. When you see XRP around 23 cents, that's a freaking steal. Like it was down to 17 cents. That's when a lot of us bought in. And so if it's under 25 cents, that's a really good deal. VeChain is under 2 cents right now. So it's always on sale. It's a great deal right now. And so you're probably wondering, why are these coins so low? And XRP community is getting frustrated because remember I showed you, hold on, XRP 20. Okay, let me show you guys something real quick. Here's the thing. People are, it's like a poker player, right? You got to have a poker face, right? So we've been here for a long time, depression, disbelief. People are getting frustrated, but we're right here now. And so what people are going to do is they're like, I'm out. And they leave right before hope comes in and boom, and it skyrockets, right? Now I'm going to bring you guys back on. Whoa, it's weird being away from you guys. Okay, so now is XRP going to go to like 20,000? In my opinion, Bitcoin, no, there's a ton of XRP, right? It has to do with how many and then demand, right? So there's demand for Bitcoin because everybody knows about Bitcoin, right? But XRP, nobody knows about XRP because there's no demand yet. Once it hits the PayPal, starts hitting all these decentralized platforms, starts hitting banks, all of a sudden everybody's gonna be like, oh, I knew cryptocurrency was, and then the demand comes. We're just waiting for demand. That's what we're waiting for. So that's all I got. There's a lot of information. What questions do you have?
What were those dates that you mentioned recently? Like Bitcoin's going to hit a peak potentially in December?
Yeah, potentially in December, November. It should. The technical. I'm not a technical analysis, but most technical analysis say around November 12th, there's going to be a peak. It goes up, and it's gonna go up and then go back down. December, based on market cycles, you're just looking at market cycles. It's going to go, whew. And so they're thinking. Who's they? The technical analysis people. And there's technical and there's emotional too. So there's emotional playing into it. There's the election. So the election is going to cause a little bit of volatility. There's going to be a lot of volatility with the election and things like that. The stock market is going to see a ton of volatility. A good example. Germany gets said they're being locked down and the stock market plummets. It's based on, there's emotion, right? If you say you're locking down a country, investors are like, oh my gosh, right? And so people panic and they try to panic sell, right? So they say that Bitcoin, the potential for it to go up to 20 grand in December. That's technical analysis. But so there's going to be like these dips right now. The good thing is it broke its resistance. It was supposed to, like, it gets these new lows, right? So you're looking for new highs and new lows, higher lows and higher highs, right? And so Bitcoin has been holding. It's been actually holding like 12,900 and keeps going back up. We thought it was going to go down to 12,500, and that was its resistance point. So it broke all-time resistance. So that's a positive thing. So. But the great thing about the altcoins that I like that for me is like you can accumulate a lot of altcoins, right? So Bitcoin's hard. I mean, it's $13,000. It's a store. For me, Bitcoin's a store of value. It's like a savings account. And so I'm going to just keep accumulating, dollar cost averaging into it as a savings account. There's people that say it's going to go to 100. I mean, that's one thing. You're going to go down the rabbit hole on the internet, and some people are going to say XRP is going to go to $568. It's like, okay, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. You know, we'd all be in the Bahamas right now. But yeah, it's not. It's just you just got to watch the market cycles. It has to do with demand. It has to do with regulation. It has to do with a lot of different. There's a lot of different factors that play into it. So. Yes.
John, when you're looking at altcoins, you said you work with crypto. I didn't realize how many altcoins there are and how many options there are.
So
when
many.
you look at something, you said you use a crypto coach.
So I hired. So I love getting coached by different people. So I hired one coach. He would basically knew as much as I knew around it. And then because I don't enjoy doing technical analysis. It gives me a headache. It's like the wicks and candles and charts. So I bought this kid's program, and I went through his program, and you can see his portfolio and stuff like that. And so I wanted to understand technical analysis. Now the fun part about crypto is, like, for example, when it moons next year, so I can't wait till Bitcoin goes and then the altcoins go. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a heavy 20% of my thing, and then you go look for new coins. And so what you look for is you say Coach JV and Kevin anytime start a 3T fitness coin. We could start our own coin. Anybody could. That's the scary part, is you can go in and I can try to IPO stock, right? So I could go and I could say, hey, listen, I'm going to start the 3T fitness coin, right? So when you see a new coin, that's the potential for a lot of gains. You look at ones, for example, there was one called Dogecoin that came out recently. And somebody was genius and went out there, and it has zero utility, right? And so Kev hits me up, he's like, dude, Dogecoin, check this out. It goes viral on TikTok. And I bought in Dogecoin, and within like 15 minutes, I made $100 and I bought out, right? And so there's coins like that you can do that with, right? But as an investor, right? So the 80% is you want to be in solid projects like XRP, VeChain, utility, leadership teams, right? Like Warren Buffett, that's how Warren Buffett invests. The 20%, you can do that. You can get some really, really big gains off of small coins like that. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to ask a question. Hopefully this will maybe reach out to people. I'm a bit older, a bit of traditional. So you hear this new narrative. So Coach talks about the new world. There's going to be a big change, everything, the Federal Reserve, gold, everything. But because my brain still thinks old, so all I'm thinking of is, okay, crypto is a way to invest in a product, but then eventually the money is going to go back into sort of the paper, the dollars and the cents. So I still sort of look at that way. So whether that's a scared way to look at it, but my question would be is how, is this just, cryptocurrency, is it just a thing? And it's not, when you talk about in the years to come, yes, we'll be all sort of vehicles will have no drivers. It will be modern, but in the meantime, it's not like Chase is going to go away. It's not like Bank of America is going to go away. It's not like we're still going to be dealing with this. So is the way to look at it is that cryptocurrency is just a superb way to make money?
No, that's a great question, actually. So that's one of it. Because imagine coming into a stock, like when the stock market just started, right? You have all these people IPO, and so you're in the beginning of something at the bottom of a wave, right? So that is one part of it. The other part of it is our voting is going to be on a blockchain. Everything's going to be on a blockchain. So think about like currency, cryptocurrency. Everything's going to operate on a blockchain. It's going to have these the nodes, the encryption. So like, for example, the narrative you keep hearing that the voting is going to be frauded, right? So I'm sure after the election, we're not going to see the results for a couple of days or longer than that, because there's going to be a lot of fraud talk, right? And they're like, okay, we're going to put it onto blockchain. So the blockchain, it's a node that makes it secure, right? A blockchain is very secure, actually. And so the world is going to move to a blockchain type system. So not only is it a store of value, it's a system. It's how you move stuff around, like VeChain example. Like VeChain has its coin, but VeChain is a blockchain that does supply chain management, right? And then they have their coin. It's kind of like Apple has an iPhone, and then they sell stocks, if that makes sense, right? So you're investing in that. To answer your question, no, banks are not going to disappear. Banks are not all of a sudden, Wells and Chase isn't going to just disappear. It's going to look a lot different, right? You're going to have talking ATMs. Post offices are going to now have like a talking ATM in there, which is going to house the federal digital dollar or whatever. That's already been written in. There's executive orders at post offices now. And the reason why post offices, think about it, even the really rural in Alaska, they all have a post office. They may not have a bank, but they actually have a post office. So post offices are going to look a lot of different in the next 10 years. As we move along, banks are still going to be around. Banks are heavy for profit, right? And so some of the richest people in the world, the JP Morgans, right? So they're going to move towards a new financial technology. Blockchain will be how everything operates. Because if you think about it from a banker perspective, if I own a bank, it's much better for you because you can move money at the speed of light. You can provide liquidity. You can provide customer service. You can provide, like, for example, when we worked at the bank, it was like, it's been going on for a long time. It's like, get online banking. And then when you go on your phone now, download your digital wallet, put everything on your wallet, put your credit card. Everybody's been pushing you onto the phone, and then you see China, and they just scan everything. They scan, that's how they do it. Sweden's very advanced. Yeah, so it's a great question. So it is the biggest shift in generational wealth. And I'm not just talking about crypto. I'm just talking about like financial technology, gas, electric cars. These are all, not take away cryptocurrency, just the way we're moving, right? And so think of like industrial to technical when you look at stocks or investing. Yeah, does that make sense?
Well, can I share a little joke? So maybe I should look at it this way. I remember I grew up and I had LP records, 45s and 33s. I had tape cassettes. I saw CDs were like, whoa, what technology? And I remember the iPod came out. Like, oh, those iPods, I hate them. Look, those, it's voodoo. It's. And then I ended up loving the iPod. It's the greatest invention because I love music. So the way I try to sort of do it in my own brain is that even this is, I find, a little scary, maybe in a way, but to be very, very positive about it. And I think this is going to turn into my new iPod. It's going to be, this is actually a good thing. I mean, it's great that we're all sitting together, being a team of positivity, and I hope everything works out fantastic for all of us. Yeah. But I mean, maybe look at it that this is going to be a good thing for the world. I mean, it really is. It's going to be better. It's a better system, right?
It's a great system. It's so now it's an awesome system. You can help impoverished countries because some countries can't move their money in and out. Philippines, their dollar, like a lot of well, if your dollar's deflating, right, you can't even get your dollar out. So it's going to help a lot of impoverished countries, things like that. Here's another narrative too, right? Think about this. So why would a government want to go into blockchain? Why would they want everybody banked? And get their money, taxes, right? Well, if you want it, so people that are using cash all the time, like you can't track that. Like it's just you. So if I give you cash, like you can't track that, right? And so if everybody's on a phone and a blockchain, you can track every single transaction. If everybody's doing their taxes on a blockchain, if everybody's doing, it's just, yeah, it's like you said, it's so for me, it was like, okay, we're heading this way. I can be a warrior in a modern day. Life fighter, yeah. And so I can stay calm, I can stay focused, I can stay centered within a new technical age. And then when I started reading all this, and that's where we're heading. I mean, you can see the IMF is talking about it nonstop, the G20, and these are all things you can look at. So go to the on YouTube, World Economic Forum, the IMF, watch the videos on there. It'll really open up your eyes. You're like, wow, these meetings are going on. The IMF posts like every single day. They talk about economics and they teach you. That's how I learned economics. And then I would go study a book and I'd come back and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then I started to see it happening globally and the effect globally. And they're all getting together going, oh no, we're in trouble. Like we the central bank's printed way too much money because there's really no way to back out of this now. It's like you're bankrupt. Like, what do? You have to fix it. But also it's like a new utopia. We can move into a whole new technical age. So.
There was one other question someone asked that didn't make it onto the list. I just remembered it. Someone asked if there's an audio book or a book you can recommend on learning about cryptocurrency.
It's a great question. I haven't found any because it's like, they're, I'll look though, I'll research. I shouldn't say I haven't, because I've tried, the ones that I'm finding are, actually, I do have one. I found one that really just teaches you the baseline of cryptocurrency. It was because there's the thing is there's a lot of guys like me out there talking about cryptocurrency. There's not really like, can't go to a bank and say, can I talk to your cryptocurrency specialist? It's a bunch of people like me and people that are just learning it and growing. That's why it is the wild, wild west. That's why I say, do not just listen, do your research. Don't take my advice, right? And so I know it's weird to say, but I just don't want to put you at risk if you don't feel like this is the right thing. And then gold and silver too. Like silver's at $24 an ounce, guys. It's so undervalued. You could buy a coin of silver every single week, a little piece of silver. You can buy gold. Gold's at about 2,000 right now. It's a little over 2,000. But those are really stores of value. And why is gold? Like gold's God's money, right? Gold is the most abundant resource we have. It can be used in everything. So if you're wanting to protect or preserve the value of your money, it doesn't have to be cryptocurrency. You can do silver, gold. So.
Oh, there's
That's
a
what I was
question
gonna ask.
someone typed out here. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's what I was going to ask, Coach, because I mean, the crypto does interest me and I really want to like dive into it. It is a little scary, but like you just mentioned, so just buying tangibles, the gold, the silver, it's also a good way to go then.
Yeah, that's always a store of value. Yeah, so that's why they're going to go back to the new. So they say they're going back to they said we're going back to a new Bretton Woods standard. That's gold standard. That's probably going to look a little bit different. So they say in a cryptocurrency type of way. This is my prediction, just a prediction, is that XRP is going to be the backer for gold. That's my prediction, right? And then that they could, I don't know, silver could be XLM or what's it?
Now,
go ahead.
On your like, so you have investments on XRP, Ripple, and VeChain. So you go directly into those websites to manage like how no?
It's an app. You can go on Binance. You can go on crypto.com. You can go on Coinbase. The most user-friendly one is crypto.com.
Crypto.com. I'm speaking from the most on-computer guy in the world.
Yeah, me and you need to talk then.
Wait, okay, so go on crypto.com, because if I can get around it, I promise,
Anyone can.
then it's workable. The only thing I'll say about crypto.com is when you do the fiat wallet, because I mean, that's the biggest thing for me, is hopefully maybe earning some money from this adventure. I'm going to call it an adventure. Just be patient, because it will work. I mean, you know, it took me 2 or 3 days, and actually then their system crashed, and I said, what the heck's going on here? I'm black. I'm a black sheep. They're never going to talk to me, but it was just being patient, and it died for me. So yes, it's crypto.com.
Okay.
And again, maybe I should add, I'm not, I don't work for crypto.com, so I'm just speaking from a total, you know, a peasant's sort of eye view.
And then, yeah, like you said too, like silver is $24 now. It's gold. Those are good stores of value. They say guns and ammo. Guns, ammo, gold, silver. Those are all guns are going to. I mean, I know that's.
All right, we gotta learn.
Yeah, and also too, one thing you're gonna want to watch is inflation, guys. Watch. So for example, I've been watching. I'm obsessed with this stuff. So I've been watching, like, literally, Kevin. I just went to eat this afternoon. Was it not super expensive for lunch?
Oh, snap.
It's like,
I was like, wait, what?
What, can you hear us? Yeah, so I was just talking. Can you hear us?
Your mic is low.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it sounds pretty muffled.
Okay, sorry. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. No.
Yep.
We're good? Okay, cool. So yeah, look at the prices of goods and services going up. We went to lunch today at this poke bowl place, and we're like, what the heck? Our price, that we keep watching the prices go up. My parents went to Serrano's Mexican food restaurant. They usually eat their seniors for $25, and they end up paying $43 for the meal. So you're going to see the prices of goods and services going up, inflation, right? And so that's just what I think about it. It's like we have to increase our prices. That's what it is. Things are costing more because people are being affected more by the pandemic. So, but yeah. And so just so you guys know too, like one thing is, like, I'm not trying to convince people to get in cryptocurrency. I want to make that very clear. I just want people to be informed and share this information with you guys and what I've been studying. And I'll just be honest with you, I prayed about this for a long time. And I was like, no, just share the information, just share it. And because it's just information, and there's people running down rabbit holes anyways. And I'm like, I may as well share what I know. And my point is, like, the Germany thing was a great example, is that there was somebody who went off on me on my Facebook and then my YouTube, which is totally understandable. She actually proved my point. She said, you need to do your research. You need to do this. And I said it. And I loved it because she actually proved my point. She's like, we're not locked down. And I said, well, what the news is saying and what affected the stock market is what they told us. And you're telling me something completely different. So you're proving my point. Be careful listen and then research. Listen, then research. When I saw Warren Buffett was moving out of bank stocks into buying gold mines, I'm like, okay, well, there's obviously something going on. He knows something, right? Tim Draper, he's Silicon Valley, but you got Rich Dad Poor Dad, you got Robert Kiyosaki. There's a lot of top billionaires that are moving their money. And another thing too is, I want to show you guys one more thing, and I'll get you off the phone. I know this is a long call, sorry, but I want to show you guys something really cool. This is the type of stuff that I like looking at. This is why I have no dating life, because this is what I do all day. Hey, you want to see this list? Which list? I'm on a date. Like, hey, check this out. So, okay. Okay, so this is XRP's rich list, okay? So I want to walk you through what this is. So this is the liquidity for XRP. This is how much they have. This is how much money they have. So they have the liquidity, right, for the banks. Right now, there's 2 million people invested in XRP. There's 7 of them hold over 1 billion XRP. So you got to think, there's some big whales from our economy in here. There's some big whales, right? So why would whales put their money in here? Look at this. That's the stuff that I look at. And so people say, well, how can there be so much liquidity? Because this right here, this curve right here, there's no demand. There's not a lot of people in XRP because people haven't found out about it yet. When the market, everybody knows about Bitcoin. So that's what I'm talking about, upside potential. When they finally find out XRP, they're like, oh gosh, this is cool. So everybody's going to flood in here. That creates demand. When all these start going up right here, demand, that pumps up price. So this is something, if you can just look this up if you guys want. So this is all, so non-escrowed. So this is all the existing wallets.
But Coach, can I ask you something about that?
Yep.
I just read, like, as we know, like in stock market, there is also huge manipulation in the cryptocurrency as well, the crypto market as well.
Yep.
And there's like, a friend of mine told me that I should like also like, I've been watching all YouTube videos and people are admiring all the great technologies, but you should also read articles or like watch videos that are against crypto or against XRP.
Yep.
And I just read an argument. There was an argument saying that there is a huge manipulation actually in XRP, that banks are actually using that, but they're buying and selling it over the counter on the over to counter market, and not on like the crypto market where we are at. So my question was like how can we be sure that it will really
Take
that,
off.
that yeah take off, and that actually like it's that banks also like, do we know that that they will also use the crypto market that we're using, or will they stay at the OTC market?
Yeah, you nailed this. You're 100% right. There's a lot of over-the-counter market sales for XRP. Another thing that they don't talk a lot about XRP owns a huge portion of their coins, so people can't manipulate the market. So they actually own a big share of those coins, and they move some out of escrow I think it's every quarter. So they actually bought up most of their coins, or like, I don't want to speak out of school. I think it's around 30%, right? So they can stop that manipulation, but you're exactly right. Because what's happening is that over the counter, what's going to happen, what we're looking for is institutional investors, people like us, the everyday person, like the people that get hits on PayPal, right? Because that's happening in banks everywhere. So there's over the counter sales happening. What we're looking for is that normal, everyday people like us, right? That all of a sudden like, oh my God. And so here, okay, so let me explain it this way. Everybody knows about Bitcoin. So when it hits PayPal, they're all going to go look at Bitcoin. They're going to be like, $13,000? Holy cow. Well, I can buy a Satoshi. I can buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Well, if it goes up to $20,000, I'm not going to get that much off of $300, right? And then they're like, wait a minute. There's these other coins that are 25 cents, 2 cents. Then they start, that's exactly how it happened last time. Everybody came into Bitcoin, and then they all flooded into the altcoin game. So that's why Bitcoin goes first, and then the altcoin. So like XRP has already gone up to 368. That's an all-time high. So you're exactly right with that. So the person's right. There is manipulation going on in all coins, So the over market. So that's absolutely right. What we're looking for is the everyday people to come rushing into crypto, because they're going to be buying it on the exchange.
Thank you. I have two more questions.
Yep.
There are also other apps that we can actually use. It's like alternatives to crypto.com. I just checked because I know for at the stock market, it's always good to have a stop loss order. And since cryptocurrencies are traded 24/7,
Yep.
I realized when I woke up that I just checked. I was $80. Like I lost $80 in like a couple hours.
Yep.
And let's say we're investing in Bitcoin, and
Yep.
then it's at 20,000. But like at night when I'm asleep, it drops to, let's say, 16,000. But I don't want to lose that much money. On crypto.com, I guess it's not possible to make a stop loss order.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
will you do something like that, or will you just okay, you're only sleeping 3 hours, so you're always gonna be up to date.
Great
But
question. Yeah,
will
so
you-
so you're getting into like that's great. You're exactly right, and so that can happen. Like especially with crypto, it's so volatile, right? So I'm more of a long term, right? And so like for example, when I'm doing the day trading, it's like when I mean by day trade, I'm literally buying in low, I'm selling high, and then when I drop, I buy back in, right? And so the stop losses, like you can do that on TradingView, you can do that on BitTrue, like there's ones you can attach to TradingView. That's definitely more advanced trading, but you're right. You can definitely put stop. You can't do that on crypto.com. You can't do anything like that on crypto.com though. But yeah, that's when because I'm working to get into day trading. It's complicated, man. Oh my God, it's so complicated. So I was getting into yield farming, and it's not that complicated. It's hard to, unless you're like, unless I'm sitting here all day on my computer, you're gonna lose a lot of money, just like I did that day. I just don't recommend it to people unless you're gonna unless you have a job where you can sit at your computer and stare at your computer. So like, for example, what I do is I write down my numbers in the morning. I'm like, okay, so if I'm like how I got my Bitcoin, I'd write down, I'm like, okay, so here's all my numbers. Here's what I bought in. Goes up 600, I scalp off the top, put it into fiat. This one went up 300, scalp off the top. And then I just kept doing that to buy into my Bitcoin. And that's just buying low and selling high. That's all it is. But I'm not, like, I was watching the 5-minute view and I can kind of tell what's going on, but I need all day to do that. But yeah, so like what he's talking about, guys, is there's like on certain platforms, you can actually put stop losses. So stop you from losing that money, right? And so it'll put a stop loss in there, and then it'll also alert you when, and you can get alerts on crypto.com. But yeah, so, but I'm more in for the long term.
And my last question is, we know that Bitcoin reached the 14,000, the barrier, the resistance point, and we're heading to 20K. That's what many technical analysts says, as you mentioned. But does it make sense if we buy a fraction, like if we invest more, like the most of our savings into Bitcoin right now, even if it's just a fraction. I don't know, like I can't afford 14,000 right now, but if I buy a fraction and sell it at an all-time high as soon as possible and then invest in altcoins, or do you think I should already, like, would you already invest in XRP and vet if I can't buy a whole Bitcoin, for example?
I would invest in the altcoins, definitely, because like if you think about it, if you buy a Satoshi, right, if you buy just a fraction of it, if it goes up to 20,000, your upside potential is much lower than if you had like an Ethereum. If you're able to buy an Ethereum and it shot up to 1,000, you'd make 700. If you bought a Satoshi, it goes up because your profit margins are squeezed down because it's so expensive. Like I was able to get 1 Bitcoin, but I'm going to work to hold that Bitcoin as a store of value for myself as a savings. Like I'm going to use the Bitcoin as a savings account for me. And so that was like my hedge against inflation. So I've got my Bitcoin, I'm good. I'm all altcoins now. Because they say Bitcoin's going to could go to 100,000. There's some people predicting 250. I don't know. There's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff, but yeah, so I would definitely get into altcoins right now. Right now is the time to get into altcoins. They're cheap. They're super, super cheap. You don't want to get in when it starts. You don't want to get in when it's going up. So right now is the time to get into altcoins.
Maybe what are the transaction costs on the platforms?
0. There's right now there's, well, it depends. Do you have any? I don't have it. I have 0. There's no transaction costs at all. Oh. If you look at Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So it depends on the level of staking too, right? Yeah. So like when you go onto crypto.com, there's a staking, like you can stake a crypto.com card. I have a debit card, and so I have no fees on it. I stake the second tier. There's 0 fees, but the fees I think they're super low. Do you know what they're? I have 0 fees on mine. They're really, really low. So
Cents on the dollar.
What's that?
I think it's like cents on the dollar.
Yeah, it's really cheap. So I have 0. I have 0 fees on mine because I got the second tier card.
I just checked. It's 1.75% per if you buy anything.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. And so another thing too is I want to bring up ledgers, right? So Jess, thank you for Jess who brought up ledgers. You also want to look at keeping your crypto safe. I'm just being honest with you guys. I've never used a ledger, but I'm actually going to be getting a ledger. And so Jess, what he did is they got a ledger. And so you can take your cryptocurrencies and take them off of the platform onto the ledger, and that makes it secure. You're the only one that has the keys for that. So that is a risk in cryptocurrency too, because if the whole platform crashes, it's not like you can walk into a Wells Fargo and be like, hey, knock on the door and be like, I mean, there's people you can reach out to, there's customer service, but it's just that's a risk. Well, you're gonna hear that a lot. Like you can get a ledger, right, Jess? Is that how you did yours?
Yeah. There's a couple different ones, kind of like what you're referring to. If you leave it on the platform, I think they call it like, they call that like the, like the hot or soft wallet. And of course, being that it's already, it's always available to the internet, that's the least reliable and the least safe, because it's always, vulnerable to, attacks, being that it's always, available. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a couple of, other options, but the best option, to keep your crypto safe is through through the ledgers. And so, I did, just a couple looks, and as far as the best ones that were rated, of course, there was the Trezor, but that was the most expensive. I think that came in like at $169. And then, but even over that, the one that just keeps coming up over and over again is the Ledger. And you have two different options between that. You have the Nano S and the Nano X. And so there isn't like, I mean, the X offers a couple more features. It has a bigger screen, because I will tell you, I got the Nano S and I started like using it, but man, it's like I tried using my phone, to blow it up so I could see it. But just because of the, like the digital part that's on the key, it was really awkward to see, so I couldn't do it. So I don't know, unless you got really good eyes or an old man like me, you might need a magnifying glass to, to actually, look at the numbers and read it down. And it's kind of complicated because there's like I don't remember if it's a 12 or 20 or some kind of friggin', recovery. So it's crucial that you write that down and you don't mess it up, because like you mentioned, if you lose those keys, you lose your money and there's no getting it back. So you want to make sure that you're very, very cautious about that. Price difference with the Nano S, it was about, it's about $60. And then if you do the Nano X, it's about 120. Now, one thing I will tell you about is that if you actually, because I know a lot of times if you go to, videos and you click on their links, or you go directly to Ledger, they, if you actually go directly to the site, they are more expensive. And so I end up going to Amazon for that price. And, it's probably, on the one that I got was probably, maybe $20 or $30 less than the actual site itself.
Yeah, you definitely want. That's one of the things is as things grow, is like there's not a lot of regulation on this. So Crypto.com, there's so the top ones are Crypto.com. You have Binance. Binance is a regulated exchange. That's something important. Binance is a little more difficult to use. Coinbase, that's also a regulated exchange. Binance they say is one of the safest. It's regulated. It actually is regulated. So Crypto.com is just the user friendly. It's very user friendly. So.
Yeah.
Yes. Can I ask something about the Ledger? What if I want to sell my coins right now, but all of my coins are on my USB stick? What should I do then? Like I can't sell. I need to upload my coins on crypto.com, I guess, before I can like start selling them. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Jess?
Yeah. That would be my understanding, yes, because I mean, obviously, if you take it off the, off the site, then it's not going to be there. It's not going to be available. So, then yes, you would have to take it from your stick, encrypt it, and put it back on to the market. So then that way you would have access to it. So that way you can sell it. But, but like I said, I don't think this is going to take any big time, like, a day, a week, or anything like that. I think it's pretty instantaneous. So if you wanted to sell it now, you just load it on there and then you just sell it like you normally would.
Thank you.
So a question that came through the chat is anyone investing through a Roth IRA? Investing Robinhood doesn't allow me to buy crypto in Nevada, and a Google Finance limited info. So you can actually, I will do some resource for you guys, because there's actually companies now where you can buy crypto through your Roth IRA. So I'll find out, it just slipped my mind. I knew who it was. I'll find out that information for you, because that's a great way to do it. If you want to work with somebody and you can, that's the thing, they're doing it through Roth IRAs now. And so I'll find out. It just slipped my mind, my brain. I'll find out what it is. But you can, yeah. So, and there's certain, it's weird. There was one of our warriors was trying to buy some like VeChain. What state is it? You couldn't buy VeChain in that state. Another thing too is like, I don't know if you guys know, you have your first in Wyoming, the first cryptocurrency bank called Kraken. They opened up a bank. It's actually a cryptocurrency bank. And here's the thing too, this shows you something. So PayPal, the reason why PayPal was able to launch cryptocurrency is they were waiting for New York to approve it. New York is a stickler on this, and they actually gave them the approval to put, because they couldn't do it unless New York gave them approval. And so New York gave them the approval to hold. That's why PayPal was launching it. That's what they were waiting for. And so that was a big sign in the cryptocurrency. I mean, that was like the shot heard around the world when PayPal announced that they were doing cryptocurrency. And so I believe in my heart, when people start seeing it, I don't know if it's on there yet, but if they start seeing that on their thing, they're going to be like, okay, wait a minute, this, because the narrative is it's fraud. That's the narrative, right? It's a fraud, and you're gonna hear a lot of bad news. And why is that on the news? Because the smart money, the big money, want to keep it suppressed so they can keep buying, and then they just want, all of a sudden it's like, here we go, cryptocurrency. A couple things like the Joe Rogan podcast, one of the #1 podcast in the world, he's talked about cryptocurrency. He just talked about it again on his podcast with Kanye West. Kanye West brought it up. It came up. It's just the narrative is talking about it. So it's coming, guys. So, but yeah, go ahead.
JV, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
As far as you look at the crypto as an investment, how does it play in relation to the stock market? So for example, if the stocks are tanking, everybody flees and goes to gold and the price of gold goes up. Is this got an inverse relation to the US stock markets, or is there any relation at all?
Yeah, there is a relation to it. So it's interesting when it seems like, it does have an inverse. So the crypto trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? So that's interesting. You said that, like when the stock market shuts down, it seems like crypto goes up every weekend. That's how I've gotten a lot of my shaving off on the weekends, because it seems like crypto, it kind of hit an anomaly last week. But when the stock market crashes, you do see an inverse relationship in between the two. Crypto will go down a little bit. Bitcoin seems to always go against the altcoins. Like when Bitcoin's up, altcoins are down. It's like this inverse. Sometimes you'll see them go, but Bitcoin seems to follow the stock market a little bit, but there is an inverse relationship to it. So there's market cycles too. But yep. But the thing is, it's interesting to see, like the weird thing about crypto is they use the Fibonacci sequence. And so it's, and it like follows exact market cycles. Like what we're going into right now, you can see all this TA out there on YouTube, technical analysis. That sounds weird. Technical analysis. So the TA shows that it's going to, the wicks and candles are exactly the same as 2017. I mean, it's literally exact, where it's like almost the same exact dates. It's mooning at the same time. It's going back down, and then it's like boom, and it hits in December and it goes up. And so like for what I'm doing, guys, so like to answer Salman's question, so I did close my position in some really, my 20% really kind of like, I call them risky altcoins, right? They were just ones that had not a lot of utility to them. So I closed my position in those. I stayed in Ethereum, XRP, Chainlink, VeChain, and then I bought into Bitcoin, and I started like doing scalping off the top, and then I got my Bitcoin. Now that I have my Bitcoin, I'm going to keep repositioning. And so I'm rebuying, like right now I've been buying because altcoins are just bottomed out right now. And so I'm just gonna, so right now, like to ask Salman, I'm accumulating altcoins as much as I can right now, because I believe in February it's just gonna take off. So.
And is there a certain day in the week where you think there's always a sale where people want to go, like want to sell rather buy?
Yep. One thing you want to watch out for is Wednesday. It seems like Wednesday. So this is why the Feds pump a bunch of, they write a bunch of checks on Tuesday. So they write a bunch of checks and pump a bunch of, well, I don't know if you call it liquidity. They hand out a bunch of checks to the central bankers. They write billions of dollars in checks on Tuesday. So it seems like the market goes up on Tuesday and then goes down on Wednesday. It seems like it goes up Tuesday, goes down on Wednesday, and then Saturday when the stock market closed, all the stock market people come to play in the cryptocurrency world. They're like, let's move to crypto for the weekend. And it seems like it goes up on the weekend, and then the money goes back out on Monday, comes back up. It seems to follow that cycle. It's not a perfect cycle, but that's what I've seen. It's going to get really volatile. So that's the thing. I guess one thing I'll share with you guys is like my mom's loving, she's into cryptocurrency now. She's like, she's in the stock market. She's like, how does it go up and down so much? She's like, it's like 1 minute I'm like, she's like, I'll lose $300 in like 15 minutes and I'm back up. It's just very volatile. It just goes, it's just really, really volatile. That's why you can make a lot of money. You can also lose a lot of money, but every time it goes back down, you just sit tight. If you're in a really good solid coin, you just sit tight. It's going to come back up. And when it gets down, you don't sell, you buy more, you accumulate, and then it comes back up. That's how I did it. Like just to be honest with you, we got rocked when we got shut down in the pandemic. And I just went to work. I started flipping vacuums. I was flipping appliances, and I started taking that money. And I had a little bit of money set aside. And so I've been accumulating. And I was like, I'm just going all in. And I just went to work. I just started flipping, and that's how I started accumulating. I was scalping, taking off top, and I built a nice portfolio. And so that's the beautiful thing about it. I mean, I was buying VeChain when it was under a penny. I was buying XRP when it was at 17 cents. And it's like, and then that one time it went up to like 38 cents. It was great. So I pulled some there and I bought into other coins. And so if you're really watching it, you can really add up you can accumulate really quickly. But next year is going to be fun, man. Unless something anomaly happens, then we're going through a bull run next year. Unless something just goes completely haywire, we're going through a bull run. We're going into Bitcoin bull run, then we're going into a altcoin bull run. And I don't know what September 28th is next year. All the cryptocurrency, wizards say that September 28th next year you want to pull out. So I'm just gonna follow what they say. Decrease your position. I'll look at technical analysis. I'm gonna decrease my position, go into fiat, and then when it crashes, you go back in, and then you moon back up, and then we ride the wave for 3 years. And so, but.
Yeah, so JV, a quick question for you. A couple times, I know you explained it to me a couple times, but maybe just for peace of mind for maybe some of the others that aren't aware of this, we can get because you had mentioned about the volatility many times, of course, with the market, and then that's why if you're new to it, to stay with the proven coins, if you will. Right. And so the staples, of course, I know you always talk about the two, of course, are XRP and VeChain. So even if things did shit hit the fan and whatever, these coins aren't going away. So worst case scenario, you would just sit on them for a little bit, and then eventually they would just come back up to whatever it is. Because since I've been doing it, and since you told me at 25 cents with XRP, it seems like it's held that pretty steadily. So they're not going to go down, crash, and be gone tomorrow. They're here to stay. They're not going anywhere. And then, and then I also know you talked about, I guess, BAT, maybe versus ADA. So, is BAT maybe been around? Has that, tested the time just like, XRP and VeChain?
So BAT, great question. So those are the ones. So I closed out of ADA and BAT and went into the Bitcoin. I'm going back into ADA and BAT as soon as it moons. So I have those. So I will be back in it. So BAT is basic attention token. So think about, everybody's all about being decentralized now, right? So they want privacy. So BAT is a web browser. It's actually a web browser that it doesn't, you choose what marketing comes to you instead of them forcing the marketing that comes to you. It's a really neat web browser. I'll have to send it over to you guys. So BAT's super, super solid. ADA is solid as well. So those are the ones, like you said, VeChain's not going anywhere. It's supply chain management, right? That's why you want to look at the leadership team. You look at so I look at who's on the board of directors, who, and the CEO of VeChain, this guy is a monster. This guy travels 276 days a year, getting VeChain into companies. He's working with COVID testing to have the COVID testing tracking, so it all connects around the world. VeChain is solid. So you're right. So you stick with those fundamentals, and then you take 20% if you want to do that, and you go into the coins that are more risky. Like the Dogecoin. That thing, it's weird. It has zero utility. There's no utility to it. You can just create a coin and put it on the market. Not you have to go through regulation and stuff, but I don't know what they call the regulation, but Dogecoin, it was I call it the social media coin. It was it went way up and then it just came crashing down, right? And so that's what the yield farming, somebody asked about that. You can make a lot of money in DeFi and in yield farming, but you can also lose a lot in seconds. I was so grateful that person called, because I literally, and that woke me up. I was like, okay, I'm being greedy now. It was just greed. It was greed kicking in. I was like, okay, I'm getting good at this. And my ego kicked in. I was like, I'm going to go into yield farming because, everybody else is doing it. So I went in there and I made 2,700 in 3 hours. Yeah, I can do it. You do beginner's luck. And then the next day I went back in and it started crashing. I was trying to pull my money. I was using gas fees. And it was I was like, what are these gas fees? And next thing you know, I lost $3,000. So I was like, so it's, it's, if you're in the solid coins, you just play the long-term game. You buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. Even the stock market, if you're in a solid stock, they shake out the stock market too. They do the same thing with stocks. I mean, it's always been money manipulation. That's what it is. With cryptocurrency, it's you can actually see it. They're So there's this chart where it's like, okay, there's a big drop happening. Usually a big drop means the whales are moving money. That's what it is. So especially if you see it in a very solid coin like XRP or VeChain. So, guys.
Yeah, that sounded exciting about, the going up and down, but it's like, with these coins that, you mentioned for the staples, they've been so solid that it just doesn't seem like that it has that, that swing to, make that kind of profit to sell and buy back in. So as of right now, I just kind of been, holding on to everything through the ups and downs because they don't seem to be that drastic at this point.
And ideally with that, like you said, Jess, like if you're getting into it, I would just buy and hold until the bull run comes. That's what I would do. Like I just, like we're, like just being transparent with you guys, our business got shut down twice. So I was kind of like playing the game of building my portfolio back up. And it was like, now I'm solid. Like I always wanted one Bitcoin. I got my Bitcoin and then I got a bunch of altcoins. The thing that I do have to do is reposition back into BAT and ADA. I really believe in those two, basic attention token and ADA. And that's I show my portfolio in the thing. And if any of you need help one off now, remember, I'm just going to share with you what I'm doing. I know I got to keep saying this. I just want to protect myself. I would just hate to see it could crash. It could literally crash tomorrow. I mean, that's one thing you have to know. It's just, I always tell people, I just like, hey, listen, invest what you can afford to lose. If you invest what you can afford to lose, knowing that you may have a good upside potential, knowing that you could wake up and your money's gone. I mean, that's kind of a weird way to look at it, but I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just done a ton of research and I know where we're heading. And so I feel very solid about that. So it's like, there's just never been an opportunity like this in our lifetime. Just there won't be ever again, in my opinion. There just won't be. And it's like, yeah, that's it.
Coach, do you still own your Crow coins? Because it dropped like 30% right now or more.
Yes, CRO.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what happened with CRO? So I own it, yeah. So what happened with CRO, it's gonna go back up. The reason why it's gonna go back up because when people go to get into CRO, when people go to get into crypto, they're gonna type in cryptocurrency and crypto.com is gonna come up #1. So, and it's the easiest to use. And I don't know if you've noticed, they are advertising like crazy on the social media platforms. You'll see because their cards are really cool. You can get the debit card, it's really easy to use. So CRO, the reason why it went down is they cut their staking in half. So you could get like 16%. So this is why it went down, guys. So you could get like 16% on your money if you staked it. Like like a CD, if you locked up a CD, right, and you get the higher interest and you still have your money. So you take your crypto, what they did is they announced because they had so many people joining crypto.com.
Thank you for calling the assistance when he was.
They're gonna eventually get not profitable, right? Because there's so many people coming on board. They can't just keep giving away that much money. So they were like announced they're cutting their staking in half and that's what dropped the price. So, but it's coming back up. So that's a good example. I just held on to it because it's like, there's no way it's not coming back up because we're just waiting for demand. We're just waiting for the people everybody to believe. We're waiting for everybody's neighbor to knock on your door. Hey, you're having a beer going, hey, listen, did you hear about crypto? That stuff's real. And they're like, really? And then that's it, just the conversation starts. And then I'm telling you, PayPal was a shot heard around the world. When I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh. Because we've been waiting for this. I mean, because this has been a bear market for a long time. We've just been holding and holding and holding. And I just kept thinking, like, should I say anything? I'm like, no. So I told my mom first, and then I started telling people, and I'm like, here's where we're at. So,
and we're talking about 300 million customers.
Yes.
PayPal has 300 million customers. 300
million customers. 300. That's 300 eyes. All of a sudden, 300 million going, whoa, cryptocurrency is not fake. Because everybody, like how many, go up to 10 people and say, hey, have you heard of Bitcoin? Watch their response. They're going to be like, oh, that stuff's fake. That's a fraud. It's a scam. And you're going to hear those things because that was drilled into their head. Now, people did get scammed, but they said it's fake. Something that's fake will go to zero, right? It went down to 3,500 and it held its value. And then it went right back up. And so it's like, I mean, people are making, like the young man I deal with, it's unbelievable. He's like 24 years old. He's 24 years old. He's he hit the first bull run, that big Bitcoin bull run. He's a multi-million dollar. All he does is sells straight Bitcoin every day, and he buys into small altcoins, and he just does this. It's all he does all day. And it's like, that's why they say it's the biggest shift in generational wealth. It's moving to a whole new tech age. It's just a whole new, there's gonna be a bunch of tech millionaires and billionaires. So that's it, guys. Any other questions?
All right.
All right. I appreciate you
Thanks
guys.
a lot, John.
Yeah, thank you. The call's recorded. So what I'll do is, bye guys. So I'll take this and actually put it into the app in the financial part of it. And that way people have access to it. So thank you guys for everything. If you need help, I'd have no problem jumping on a call with you guys. If you need any help with anything, just let me know.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
thank
much.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.